Hello friends, welcome back to Andy Walks With Me Vacation Edition. It's vacation in more than one way because not only am I on a beach in South Carolina, but we are in the book of Romans, the best part too. So here, this is Romans chapter 7. So what happens in Romans chapter 7 is Paul is continuing what he was saying in the last chapter. He was talking about how, the law has created, death because you can't follow it. And so in this chapter, he's saying we're released from the law. Now he's speaking to Jewish people. He's speaking to those who have lived under the law their whole life. And here he's saying, do you know that you had essentially a covenant relationship with God ever since Abraham? And a covenant relationship, another symbol of a covenant relationship, is marriage. And he's saying, but don't you know that when you die, you're no longer married? That's what you vow to, when you get married, that you'll stay married until one of you dies. And he's saying this covenant's like that because right now you are dying to sin and you're a new creation. And so I mentioned it before, but yeah, it's a lot like what Jesus said. He's saying, you need to be born again. You need a whole new nature. You need a whole new way of connecting with God. And so as he keeps going, he's saying, now, does this mean that the law is bad? Am I trying to say that the law is bad? And he's saying, by no means. I'm not saying the law is a bad thing. And he's saying, I bring up covetousness. And he says, I wouldn't have known what covetousness was had it not been for the law. The law shows you what right and wrong is, and that's still good. We wouldn't know what any sin was had it not been for God giving us some sort of moral standard for what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. So following the law isn't a bad thing. But he gives this example at the very end. And he says, it's like this. It's like there's something that I'm doing and I know that I shouldn't be doing it. And I'm sure anybody watching this can identify with this idea. That it's like there's these things or this thing that I'm doing and I just know it's wrong. I just know it. And so I tell myself, I say, I'm not going to do this thing anymore. This thing that I don't want to do, I'm done. I'm going to try my hardest and I'm going to not do it. And he's like, and then I find myself doing it again. And so I tell myself again, I'm not going to do it. And he said, every time you tell yourself, you are confirming what's true, that the law is good, that there's a reason that I shouldn't be doing this, that what I'm doing is wrong. And yet, I have this flesh that even though I agree that it's wrong, and I'll tell myself, and I'll try and do it with my strength, with my flesh, and say, I'm not going to do it anymore, I still do it. And he's saying, he's using the flesh in two different ways, at least that's the way I see it. It's the flesh that's causing the sin, but it's also the flesh that's trying to fix the problem. And he's saying you can't do that. And he says something that I really love in this chapter. He says, after he sees this horrible cycle that he gets into, he says, "O wretched man that I am, who will save me from this body of death?" And what he's pointing at there is something that's the key. It's the way out of the cycle. You know, and I think people miss this when they read it, but it's the most important part. When you see yourself going in that loop where it's like, I don't want to do that thing, I keep doing that thing. I don't want to do that thing, I keep doing that thing. Or those things, or you know, my nature is just this loop where it's like, I so resonate with that statement. Oh, wretched man that I am, who will save me from this body of death? And then it says, but thanks be to Jesus. You know, the way to get out of it is not to try harder. It's to rely on God more. And every time you sin, it's a reminder of what Jesus has done for you. So when you get in that cycle, you're not supposed to try harder. You're supposed to connect with God, and you're supposed to really just rely on the grace that He's given you, because that's all you can do. You know, who will save you from this body of death? Nobody but Jesus. That is Romans chapter 7. All right, bye.